Charity is among the only people in Emmerdale who truly understands how dangerous Dr. Todd can be. In recent months, the manipulative surgeon has made Jacob's life miserable. For unknown reasons, Todd appears to enjoy humiliating him and tearing down his self-esteem at every opportunity. Now living in the village alongside Vanessa, Caitlin has also started exploiting Vanessa's feelings for her. She knows Vanessa trusts her completely, allowing her to twist situations involving Jacob through charm and manipulation, and so far, her plan has worked perfectly. Earlier this week, Vanessa caught Jacob angrily confronting Dr. Todd inside the pub toilets. Afterwards, Vanessa scolded Jacob, insisting that Layla would be disgusted by the way he was behaving toward his female superior. Charity has become increasingly uneasy watching Vanessa grow closer to Todd. Following the birth of her baby, Charity was left stunned when Todd privately revealed she knew Sarah and Jacob were not the child's biological parents. Holding such a huge secret has given Todd enormous power, and she seems to be thoroughly enjoying using it against Charity. Next week, after Todd demands money in return for keeping quiet, Charity discovers her request for a loan extension has been rejected. Matters only worsen when Todd sends another message reminding her that payment is overdue. At the same time, Vanessa admits she had secretly hoped Caitlin would sneak into her bedroom the previous night. Todd confesses she was tempted, but claims she does not want to move too quickly. Back at the Woolpack, Charity feels optimistic after learning Ruby may be interested in buying the pub. However, Caleb quickly shuts down the idea, fearing it would spark anger among the villagers. Having already given Charity just 1 week to find the money, Todd later enjoys tormenting her again in the pub toilets. Emma Atkins described the character's unsettling presence, explaining that Todd has a way of making a room suddenly feel cold as she quietly appears behind someone. Elsewhere, Vanessa happily opens up about her growing romance with Todd and believes everything is progressing smoothly. Her mood shifts slightly when Charity approaches and warns her to stay away from Caitlin. Vanessa insists she will stay cautious, but has she already become trapped by Todd's manipulation? Although Todd does not seem genuinely interested in a future with Vanessa, it is obvious that her obsession with controlling Charity and Jacob matters far more to her than romance. Caroline Harker recently explained that Caitlin struggles to understand love properly, though she believes the feelings toward Vanessa are partly real. Unfortunately, Todd's darker urges and manipulative behaviour remain much stronger. Could Vanessa ultimately be left heartbroken once the truth finally comes out? A dramatic new Emmerdale spoiler video has teased a terrifying twist as Graham is left horrified by what Joe may have done. The tense moment sees Graham beginning to suspect that Joe could be willing to risk the life of the woman he claims to love, simply to punish her for betrayal. Meanwhile, Dawn remains convinced that Joe is completely unaware she has been secretly plotting to destroy him behind the scenes. Dawn's feelings toward Joe changed entirely after Moira revealed several shocking truths weeks ago. She discovered Joe had helped frame Moira, destroyed Holly Barton's memorial tree, and blackmailed Victoria. Realizing the extent of his manipulation, Dawn decided she wanted nothing more to do with him. Her revenge plan first began when she convinced Joe to hand over money under the pretense of buying Take a Vow from Belle. In reality, Dawn never planned to purchase the business and only wanted access to his wealth. Soon afterwards, Dawn pushed things further by questioning whether Joe would forget about her children once their baby arrived. Hoping to reassure her, Joe created trust funds for Clemmy, Lucas, Evan, and their unborn child. The accounts secured a fortune for the children, while also giving Dawn access to the money. Moira and Kane are both helping Dawn carry out the scheme, although Kane is finding it increasingly difficult to hide his hatred for Joe. Every interaction between them threatens to erupt into violence. Next week at the Woolpack, Kane struggles to control his temper as Joe enters the pub. Before the situation explodes, Moira quickly steps in to calm things down. Even though Kane reluctantly backs off, both Moira and Dawn realize the entire plan could collapse if he loses control again. Later, Kane vents his anger at home and admits he can barely contain his rage anymore. His reaction leaves Moira fearing for Dawn's safety, leading her to urge Dawn to take the children and leave immediately. The warning catches Dawn off guard, forcing her to confront how dangerous the situation has become. Despite this, she refuses to back down and insists on finishing things her own way. At the same time, Dawn becomes increasingly unsettled as Joe continues talking happily about their future together and their upcoming wedding plans. However, it soon becomes painfully obvious that Joe's emotional behaviour is not genuine at all, because he already knows she has betrayed him. Graham is also aware of the growing tension and encourages Joe to take action before things spiral out of control. Joe calmly insists everything is already being handled. A chilling new spoiler clip then reveals exactly what Joe means. Graham arrives home only to find Dawn unconscious at the bottom of the stairs. As he reaches for his phone to call emergency services, Joe suddenly appears nearby. Completely stunned, Graham demands to know what Joe has done. Joe has always reacted badly to betrayal, but has he finally crossed a dangerous line by putting his pregnant fiancée in serious danger? Emmerdale delivered a major new mystery tonight as a dangerous blaze erupted, leaving viewers desperate to uncover who started the fire. The dramatic cliffhanger came after an episode packed with conflict between Kane and Robert, but the real culprit remains unknown. The episode began with Robert working alone on the farm before he was suddenly attacked by Sam and knocked unconscious. When Robert eventually regained consciousness, he discovered he had been tied to a chair inside the barn, where an angry Kane was waiting for him while holding a hammer. The confrontation followed recent events in which Kane discovered Robert had secretly planted fake identity documents at Butler's. The evidence ultimately led to Moira being wrongly arrested, and Kane was determined to make Robert suffer for it. Although Sam initially helped Kane, he quickly became uncomfortable with how far the situation was escalating and rushed out of the barn. Kane, however, continued intimidating Robert and demanded answers. Desperate to defend himself, Robert insisted he only framed Moira because he was trying to protect Victoria after she killed John. Later on, while Moira and Aaron became increasingly concerned about the whereabouts of Kane and Robert, the confrontation between the two men took an unexpected turn. Just as Kane prepared to attack Robert, he suddenly doubled over in agony, leaving Robert with a difficult choice: flee the scene or help him. In the end, Robert decided to take Kane to hospital for treatment. Even while in pain, Kane warned Robert not to assume their feud was finished. After Kane was admitted, Moira and Aaron arrived at the hospital and quickly learned everything that had happened. Aaron later defended Robert during a conversation with Kane, while Robert once again apologized for his actions. Eventually, Kane reluctantly agreed to call a truce and move forward. Feeling relieved to finally leave the drama behind them, Robert and Aaron walked out of the hospital, believing the worst was over. However, the situation took a terrifying twist when viewers saw a mystery person deliberately starting a fire at Emmerdale Farm. The identity of the culprit remains unknown. Elsewhere, Emmerdale fans recently learned that Patsy Kensit will be returning to the soap as Sadie King after 2 decades away from the village. During her original time on the show, Sadie famously had relationships with both Robert and Kane. Speaking about her comeback, Patsy revealed she was thrilled to return to Emmerdale. She explained that she has always treasured her previous years on the program and loved portraying Sadie King. She also praised the cast and crew, adding that she feels grateful for the opportunity to reprise the iconic role once again. Emmerdale continues airing on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.